sexual misconduct involving an inmate.
13 female corrections officers.
Today, we uncover secret relationships hidden behind the badges of police officers. They say love comes when you least expect it, and in this episode, we explore the intriguing world where passion clashes with duty. Number 3. Joyce Mitchell, Richard Matt, and David Sweat. The first story we're telling you about might be one of the most famous romances in prison you've ever heard of, and what's more, this romance ended in a huge drama and a prison break just like in Shawshank. Spotlight on Joyce Mitchell, a Clinton Correctional Prison employee with over 7 years of experience. But one wrong move in her career led to a colossal mistake, landing her behind bars for several years. It's a twist of fate for the one who was supposed to guard others in prison not end up there herself. This may seem surprising, but a seemingly mature woman fell under the spell of two, let's say that again, two shady characters from the fringes. We're talking about Richard Matt and David Sweat. Both were sentenced to life for heinous crimes, including brutal murders. In short, these really weren't people that you wanted to cross paths with, but Joyce, it appears, had a different opinion.
Groomed her to the point of assisting them in escaping from Clinton Correctional.
These two cunning individuals managed to completely manipulate the woman, and during the investigation, it was revealed that they had been sleeping with each other for a really long time, and their prison romance was even widely known.
They were getting it on. I believe they were getting it on in that back room.
At the trial, it was said that we were alone, and inmate Matt grabbed me and kissed me. It startled me. He kissed me with an open-mouth kiss. I didn't say anything because I was scared for my husband, who also worked in the facility.
She is said to have had sex with Sweat more than 100 times.
On top of that, Richard Matt also confessed that he asked her to perform oral sex, and she did so. Matt would come to her desk wearing a large coat in which he'd cut a hole so Mitchell could fondle him.
You were looking for something. You were looking for attention.
Yes, their attention made me feel good.
However, this romance did not have a happy ending. The enamored woman was deceived, and without even realizing it, she aided these two extremely dangerous men in their escape from prison.
Be on the lookout for two escapees from Clinton County Corrections Facility.
It turned out during the investigation that the guard knew the inmates were planning to escape and was aware of their plan. She went to great lengths to assist them, providing the necessary tools in a highly creative manner, it must be admitted. With the tools in hand, the men planned their escape akin to Prison Break, creating a truly spectacular operation.
And worked their way down 4 stories through 24-inch pipes. Climbing through a series of catwalks, they walked 300 to 400 yards down a tunnel, manhole, that they sawed open with their tools. The manhole where they surfaced was only 1 block from the prison walls.
Reportedly, they promised the woman they would escape together as a trio and start a new life, and she actually believed them.
Couldn't tell my husband. Couldn't tell my family. I couldn't tell my coworkers.
The pursuit lasted for weeks, and due to her gullibility, the woman could have truly caused a massive tragedy and danger to the community. However, the convicts were caught. Sweat ended up back behind bars, while Matt was shot and killed during the chase. The punishment didn't spare Mitchell either, who spent nearly 5 years in prison and was deeply distraught throughout the entire time because of what had happened. However, the judge and the jury remained unmoved by her tears, and the guard had to answer for her utter irresponsibility.
Take it all back, I would. I can't begin to explain how sorry I am for all this.
And just like in our next case, another guard found herself behind bars. Before we jump into the rest of the stories, we kindly ask you to show some love by hitting the like button below and subscribing to our channel. Your support truly means the world to us. Thank you for watching, and without further delay, let's get right back to the heart of the matter. Number 2. Gemma Kalperthwalt. At just 27, Gemma, a former St. Clair County prison guard, surely wishes she could turn back time. Back in 2015, she wasn't as wise as she is now, and she made a terrible mistake. If only she had never taken an interest in any convict, she might never have looked their way again.
I got caught up in something that
I shouldn't have.
Rumor has it that the inmate and the guard immediately caught each other's eye and their romance quickly blossomed. However, neither of them could anticipate what would happen next.
I met my quote-unquote victim back last year.
That little innocent romance started with playful teasing and innocent gestures. At that stage, maybe no one would have noticed, but things escalated from there. The woman met at the guard's home while the inmate was on a medical furlough from prison, and that was perhaps the turning point in their relationship.
So I gave her my phone number and said, if you want to contact me, if you want to talk outside of here, then I'm okay with it.
From that moment on, the inmate's attitude towards the relationship changed. She demanded more and more favors that Gemma couldn't fulfill. When the guard didn't meet her demands, the inmate accused her of abuse of power and sexual assault, something that did happen to some extent.
Because she was the one to reach out to me, she was the one to come to me, she was the one to ask me for help.
Copperthwaite admitted in court on Tuesday to the charge of sexual assault with intent to penetrate, a crime punishable by up to 10 years in prison. She confessed to engaging in a sexual relationship with the inmate while she was in prison. As if being sentenced to 6 months in prison wasn't enough, her guilty plea also means that Gemma will be permanently listed on the state's sex offender registry.
Yeah, run away. It's not worth it. It's not worth sitting 5 months in prison.
So one thing is certain. The guard regrets what she did, and if she could, she would turn back time. However, the same cannot be said for our next guard. Number 1, Nancy Gonzalez and Ronell Wilson.
A female federal prison guard in court today charged with having an illegal affair with an inmate. That inmate, a convicted cop killer. She's now pregnant and she faces more than a dozen years behind bars.
The case we're about to present is shocking and unprecedented for several reasons, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Gonzalez claims that during her time at the Metropolitan Detention Center, she engaged in sexual activities with at least 8 colleagues, including 2 supervisors, all while on duty. She also admitted to having a sexual relationship with another inmate. And it's this last point that appears to be the most shocking. Setting aside the entire sexual scandal, the worst part is that Gonzalez became pregnant and gave birth to a child of one of the inmates that she'd been involved with for several months.
Why not give him a child, as far as giving him some kind of hope?
Also, from what she mentioned in the quote displayed on your screen, it suggests that this child might not have been an accident. It could have been a planned action in favor of the inmate. The father of the child was no ordinary prisoner, but Ronell Wilson, who was on death row awaiting execution. The inmate was a significant member of a notorious criminal gang in New York, known for its brutality. He was incarcerated for the murder of 2 innocent police officers. It's a bit of an irony, isn't it? A police officer not only breaks the rules, but also gets involved with someone like him. Despite Gonzalez's lack of remorse, every individual mentioned in today's episode faced the consequences of their actions. Policing isn't easy, and sometimes situations spiral out of control. In today's episode, we'll reveal 3 instances where female cops made catastrophic mistakes that abruptly ended their careers. Number 3, Elizabeth Montoya.
It is a disturbing image. A pregnant woman handcuffed, punched again and again by a San Antonio police officer, all of it caught on camera.
In a harrowing event that shook both the online community and society as a whole, a San Antonio police officer became the center of attention in 2019. But what caused this controversy? A leaked video on the internet revealing her repeatedly punching a handcuffed pregnant woman in the head.
Montoya was fired in early 2019, months after footage of the 2018 drug search gone wrong came to light.
But let's start from the beginning. What caused this police officer's fury?
You feel it when there's something there. Spread your legs.
At first, everything seemed normal. It began with a routine apprehension of a suspect and an attempt to search her to ensure she didn't have any dangerous items on her.
I was running from these fucking people. Spread your legs. I'm not gonna ask you.
However, at one point, the suspect stopped cooperating, and that clearly infuriated the police officer.
I fuck bitch. Watch out, man. Don't do it. You're hurting my. Don't be grabbing my stuff either. I'm not grabbing on you, dude. Let me the fuck go, man.
The situation escalated rapidly, and in no time, we see the police officer forcefully bringing the suspect to the ground and striking her with fists. The scene is filled with cries of pain from the pregnant suspect and verbal abuse from the police officer.
Spread your legs.
Right here. Now we'll do it.
Do not kick me.
During the recording, we can hear extremely disturbing statements and threats.
Kick me again. I swear to God, I'll break your arm.
After delivering what was later determined to be at least 7 blows to her face, Montoya escorts the suspect to the police car, where her nightmare, however, is far from over.
What? Get in.
My arms hurt, my shoulders hurt.
In addition to the body cam footage, a disturbing video from the police car was revealed, showing the suspect receiving blow after blow to her face, despite making no resistance whatsoever. The officer continued to verbally abuse and threaten her, and the situation only escalated further.
Hey, I punched you in the face a couple times. I'll do it again, too.
Why did you hit me like that?
You deserve it.
Now, you might be wondering, what could have possibly driven the San Antonio officer to such a rage, leading her to commit such actions? She explained herself a little something like that.
So I was searching her, and when I searched her, she had drugs in her bra. I'm like, hey, stand still. She's like, can you pull my shirt down? And she started pulling at her shirt, so I thought maybe she had some more shit in there because I pulled her bra out. I was like, stop messing with your shirt. So she's not following my instructions. So I'm assuming she's got something on her, and she like tries to spin on me. I'm like, that's enough. So I grab her arm and I push her up against the car. I'm holding on to her. I'm like, spread your legs. And she kept on and she kept on and she fucking horse kicked me. Right in my knee.
However, we're not entirely convinced if these excuses hold water, especially when you consider the rage and aggression evident in Montoya's behavior. We believe that even she realized at some point that she'd gone too far, as she began to excessively justify her actions, attempting to explain to her superiors and colleagues why she had reacted so strongly.
Stop kicking me! I didn't kick you!
She was just screaming in my face, and she was very close. I was afraid that I was either going to get spit on or headbutted.
However, her explanations didn't change the outcome. Once the video was revealed, she had to quickly say goodbye to her job and work on controlling her anger.
And watching this video, if I had to do this over again, I'd indefinitely suspend her again. This is entirely uncalled for, and that's why she got terminated.
Now, both Montoya and the other 2 police officers we'll introduce to you shortly will have a lot of free time at unemployment, having the opportunity to rethink their actions. Number 2, Courtney Brown and Christy Wilson. These 2 officers from Georgia were dismissed after an investigation into body cam footage revealed they were not performing their duties at an acceptable level. And you'll soon see, unacceptable level is a very mild term for what happened. At the start of the recording, we see the officers pulling over a speeding car. The passenger is Sarah Webb, a harmless woman who immediately apologizes and admits her mistake.
Stay in the car.
Sorry, my window doesn't hold.
Off to Brown Roswell Police Department. You know how fast you were just going, ma'am?
I'm so sorry, I'm late for work.
In a typical situation, this case would have ended with a warning or a small fine. However, we can see that one of the officers is in a bad mood as she starts bothering the detained woman.
The ground's wet, it's been raining, you're going over 80 miles an hour on this type of a road. That's reckless driving, ma'am.
It's clear that the policewoman realizes this is a trivial matter, but she seems determined to stop someone and cause trouble for no reason today.
She was going like almost 90 down 92. Oh, really? She flew past me. I had to get up to 90 to catch her. Wow.
Brown and Wilson are a bit uncertain about what they can do in this situation. They ponder for a moment, thinking about how to handle the woman and what punishment, if any, should be given.
I'm gonna take her probably for reckless. Okay. She flew past me going probably 80, 85 on 92 in the wet road. She said she's running late for work. I had to get up to 90 to catch her.
Finally, at one point, they come up with a fantastic idea that swiftly resolves their uncertainty. They decide to flip a coin. Depending on the outcome, tails for letting her go, heads for arresting her, they believe their dilemma will be solved.
Who's that?
A head, our tail.
Okay.
This is tail, right?
Yeah.
You could clearly hear the coin landing on tails. However, whether forgetting or simply not caring, Wilson insisted on Sarah's arrest. Brown, still smiling, stepped out of the car to detain Sarah.
Alright, ma'am. Do me a favor. Step out of the vehicle for me. Put the phone down. Why would you phone down? Step out of the vehicle. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Because, ma'am, you're driving entirely too fast for conditions. You put a lot of people's lives in jeopardy, okay?
Completely shocked, the detained woman instantly starts to panic and cry. She never expected that a few extra kilometers on the speedometer could land her in jail today.
Do you have anything in your pockets? Do you have anything on you to poke, stick, or stab me? Any drugs, paraphernalia, anything like that? Okay.
At that moment, she had no idea that her fate had been decided by a flip of a coin. We could clearly see how much the entire situation weighed on her, causing immense stress and anxiety. As soon as the coin flip footage reached the wider public, the reaction was swift and immediate. Brown and Wilson were fired. Their supervisors couldn't hide their astonishment and embarrassment over the entire situation.
Exactly. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, to be honest.
The victim had only one thing to say to them: shame on you.
These people really put my freedom in the hands of a coin flip.
The first two cases were nothing compared to what you're about to witness. But before we dive into that, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel as well. Thank you. Number 1. Jordan Steinke. This case is truly terrifying, and for those with a weak stomach, it might be too intense. But let's start from the beginning. An officer from Colorado pulled over a woman named Yurini Rios Gonzalez, who was suspected of possessing illegal firearms. Initially, the procedure seemed routine. The suspect was restrained and escorted to the police car, where she was to wait for further actions.
Where are you taking? We're taking you to the car. Come on, take a seat.
Right after that, Steinke proceeded to search the suspect's car. As she did, she heard the sound of an approaching train, which momentarily paralyzed her.
Time check.
By the time everyone realized what was happening, it was already too late. The train crashed into the police car parked on the tracks, where the restrained Gonzalez sat with no chance of escape.
The suspect was in the vehicle that was hit by the train.
The scene looked like something out of a horror movie, and we can only imagine what was going through the minds of both the suspect and the police officer at that moment. Despite the car being completely obliterated, miraculously, Gonzalez survived but suffered severe injuries. Of course, the police officer was brought to trial, but she never attempted to defend herself. Instead, she openly admitted her mistake and expressed profound sorrow for what had happened.
I wish I could see her eye to eye right now. For that, I am so sorry. I feel very much responsible for what happened to you that night, and I accept the court's decision to hold me accountable.
If you enjoyed today's episode, let us know if you want part 2. In the meantime, click here to watch our previous video. Thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us today, everybody. We'll see you in our next video.